Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Mufti? May Allah bless you and keep you firm. Ameen. I have a three-part question. First part, there's a small town in North Carolina where many of my family reside. The vast majority of the people who live in this small town are white American Christians, and hardly any other races live in this town. Most of their stores close on Sundays because many go to church in the town, and there are many churches in this town, almost one on every corner or so. Most of the Christians there come from different Christian sects, and some of their women wear exposing clothing or showing their skin, even though they say they are Christians and go to church on Sunday. With regards to eating their meat, could we eat their meat? Also, if someone were to ask them where they got their meat and how it was slaughtered, most likely they wouldn't know it, or it would be a lot of investigation to find out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you very much for asking. All praises for Allah, the Sublime, the Exalted, who keeps us safe and keeps us healthy. As far as the meat of the people of the book, as Allah Azza wa Jal had mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the 5th chapter of the Quran, on this day, the lawful things are made permissible for you. Allah mentions this. On this day, the lawful things are made permissible. And Allah, He speaks about many other things, the women from Ahlul Kitab, and also the ta'am, the food of those who have been given the scriptures, meaning the slaughtered animals, the meat of the Jews and of the Christians. So therefore, Christians who go to church on Sunday and their women don't cover properly, so on and so forth, can we eat their meat? And if you ask them where the meat comes from, most of them don't know. It's a yes and a no answer. The yes part is, if they profess Christianity and they profess the belief in one God, monotheism, not getting into the details and the specific arguments of the Trinitarian doctrine, but the concept of one divine God, monotheism, relatively. That's one thing. As far as if they have mistakes and errors, such as their women not covering, or Christmas trees, or eating swine, and so on and so forth, then sin, bid'ah, and at-tabdil, them switching and changing things out of their deen, does not necessarily exclude them from the realm of Ahlul Kitab. It does not necessarily exclude them from the realm of those who have been given the scripture. So based off of that, that would include them in the generality of alladhina utul kitab, those who have been given the scriptures. As far as the no part of the question or answer, where does their meat come from? They themselves don't know, meaning they're buying it from a larger supplier. They're buying it from a warehouse, a factory, someone is subbing to them the slaughtered animals. Then that's a different story, because they are no longer the ones who are slaughtering those animals. And those animals could be slaughtered by someone who's a clear, open, plain atheist, someone who has no monotheistic religion, no religion at all. But if they themselves are slaughtering the animal, they run the slaughterhouse, so on and so forth, then that's a different story. So it's a yes and a no answer, bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they themselves are slaughtering the animals, then that's one thing. And the details of the slaughtering apply to it as well. You know for sure that they're slaughtering the animal incorrectly, then it's haram. You don't know for sure that they're slaughtering the animal correctly or incorrectly, that's a different story. But if they themselves are purchasing the meat from another place, then further investigation is needed. At the end of the day, it's very simple and it's very plain, it's very easy. Jews and Christians who sell food, who offer food, if you know that they slaughter those animals incorrectly according to the Muslims and according to their original way, then don't eat the meat. If you don't know, that's where the fork in the road lies. You can go with one or two different aslain, which are both comprehensive maxims, principles in religion. The first asl is that their food is lawful to eat. And then it's not for the Muslim to investigate and to dig too much, in which he falls into the realm of the shubha, okay, and looking for shubha, looking for something that's doubtful and questionable, and making things hard upon himself. And from another aspect, one says it's well known the Jews and the Christians, or specifically those who say they're Christians in this country, kill their animals in a way that is unpleasing to their original teachings, through electric shock, so on and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Question number 2. In another place in North Carolina, in the city of Raleigh and areas around it, it is different from the small town I mentioned before. It is a big city and much more people with different races and with people of different religions, even though the majority of the people living in the city are white Americans who say they are Christians. With regards to eating their meat, can we eat their meat? This also will be the same as in question 1, as they probably would know where the meat came from if asked, or how it was slaughtered, and would take some time to do investigation to find out. Just like the question is similar to the previous question, the answer is similar to the previous answer. If they profess a religion of monotheism and to follow a scripture and a prophet, a messenger, and they have some type of religious cognizance, understanding of God, of religion, of following, church, synagogue, so on and so forth, then that's one thing. If they have a religion of Buddhism, of Shinto religion, agnostics, whatever other type of faith or way of life that is not one of the Abrahamic faiths, then do not eat the meat. Absolutely. The Jew and the Christian issue could of doubt, right, left, fork in the road. Someone of other than those three faiths, there's no question you're not allowed to eat their meat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. With regards to where they got the meat from, also if someone were to ask them, the same applies to the previous question as well and the previous answer. Allah knows best. In another place in North Carolina, in the city of Raleigh and areas, we mentioned it already, question number 3. For both these situations, a small Christian town and a big city, both the South, is it required to ask them about the meat of the people of the book and do investigation, even though they may not know if asked, or it takes some time due to the investigation? Please, can you clarify these situations? And can you please answer in a video, Mufti, so that many others can benefit? I know this is very long to read for a video, but this is a question that is commonly asked, especially those who live down south in America, where it is different from New York City. Jazakallahu khairan, RR New York City. Barakallahu feek, brother in Islam or sister in Islam. As we have previously explained, we have principles in Islam, and oftentimes you have more than one principle. So sometimes you have to go with the principle that you feel most comfortable with, and that you feel is the safest principle to go with. One principle tells us those who have been given the scripture, their food is lawful to eat, their women are lawful to marry. Another principle tells us is that if it's widespread and if it's well known in a place or land in which there's mass produced meats, in which there are thousands of animals on a conveyor belt, and the people themselves do not practice hand slaughtering because they're considered to be inhumane or unhygienic or beastly or whatever the case may be, then that's an asl. It's well known that people don't slaughter with a knife in America, and that's why they say hand slaughtered. That's why they say grass fed, farm raised, because that's no longer the asl. Everybody understand this? So a person could be between one or two principles. So you have to do that which you feel is closest and the safest. Me personally, I would avoid it and stay away from it, unless it was a specific proof or evidence that this meat is kosher glatt, or it is hand slaughtered by Christians. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. We've answered this question in some type of detail in our playlist on hunting and slaughtering in light of the book and the sunnah on Hadith Disciple channel. Jazakallahu khairan.